1, 2, 3, 4. So I was thinking about, you know, what am I going to do about a new record, really? And I suppose towards the end of 2010, I was realising that this was something I was going to have to approach in 2011. And then at the beginning of 2011, my mum passed away, and that sort of, you know, had the effect of making me think even more about the future, in the sense that it makes you think about, you know, what you're doing, why you're doing it, you know, what you're going to do with the time you have left. You know, it brings all those feelings onto you. So while this album isn't really about all that, it's part of the thing that helping me to focus on the future. Now, I've never been much of a studio creature. For a long time, my old mate Joe Henry, who's a great singer-songwriter, but also has developed over the last few years into an amazing producer, has said to me a few times, you know, why don't you come and record some songs in my basement? It's relatively simple. You know, we could do it in 5 days. It seemed to me like a good way of challenging myself and seeing what I had, what I have after these last couple of years, you know. Going and spending a week in Joe's basement in January 2012 seemed to me like a good way of kick-starting the process of me getting involved again in the music industry. In a new way, in a way where, for the first time, it was all going to be done from here, with me and Juliet working together on the touring, on the record, on what it looked like, on how it went onto the internet. So I bought myself a ticket and went over to Pasadena in the second week of January. There's still an audience out there for what I do, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm really encouraged that after all this time, you know, there are still people willing to come to my shows. I've just come back from an amazing Australia and New Zealand tour, where the response there was just incredible. It's like the first time I ever went there. So while that's kept me going, that's what's kept me performing, you know, I kind of kept the record industry at arm's length. And surreptitiously sneaking off to see Joe was kind of my way of engaging again, but on my terms. On this tour, which is the longest, I think it is actually the longest tour I've ever done in the United States of America. It's about it's US and Canada. I'm very much looking forward to it, because also it's playing these songs with a new band. You know, I've played the album with them, which is very, very exciting for me. But introducing old Billy Bragg songs to them has also been really exciting. You know, we were playing Ideology the other day, and it really worked. You know, they really got hold of it. The intent of the original version was all there. Valentine's Day is Over with a bit of pedal steel on the chorus is just heartbreaking, you know.
Shouting to be heard about the sound of ideology clashing outside the patient.
Yeah, No One Knows Nothing Anymore was a song that I already had before I went to Joe's, sort of a state of the world song. I wasn't sure what it was going to sound like, so working with Joe and the band in the studio to get that kind of sort of floaty sound, I think it reflects a sense that we are adrift.
No one knows nothing anymore. Nobody really knows the score, since nobody knows anything. Let's break it down and start again.
Well, I think American music, specifically black American music, has always been so influential on the best music made in Britain. and it's always been the same with me. You know, I've always thought of myself as a soul singer. You know, I can say that with a straight face. People watching this at home might think you must be joking, Braggy, but you know, that's to me the great emotional music, the greatest music that makes you want to break down and cry. To me, has always been soul music, and I like to think that I give enough of myself and enough of my emotions to it to qualify in music that touches you in that kind of way. So that's what it is. It's, you know, it's drawing on those more rootsy forms of music to make the points that I want to make. You know, a lot of the stuff on the record, these songs are about personal issues of relationships. But you know, the struggle is not all just about changing the world. You know, there is also a struggle that all of us go through in our relationships, particularly with the people we love the most. And a struggle to maintain a relationship over a long period is, I think, as worthy of writing about as the struggle to get fair pay for everybody.